It's 1 o'clock.
Hey folks, how's everybody doing out there today? I am just working to connect my live stream here to my LinkedIn account. I did not get that stream set up properly this time. So working on getting my checklist going here so that I can be consistent with all of this, but let's see. Hopefully you guys are doing well today. And working hard this week. We moved into the new office at Exponent 21, so that is always exciting. You've not heard me mention it. We are moving into, we just moved into 316 West Broad Street, downtown Richmond. So thanks so much for joining me here today. I've got my system set up, I believe. But if you are out there with me today, you want to give me a hand, just give me a heads up if you have any trouble hearing me. I've had some audio issues in the past, so I don't want to make sure that you guys can hear everything I'm saying. The music's not overpowering things. Con 34, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you hopping on here today. Just so you guys know, I'm going to be working on finishing an app today called Sound Rewrite. I've been working on for a few weeks now. It's designed to help authors finish their book, whether it's a challenge with finishing what you're writing or organizing what you're writing or just getting through rereading your book and processing feedback from your team. This app is designed to do all of those things. And I've talked about this before, but before we get into it, if you're new, this is Live Vibe Coding with Will Melton. And in this, I show you how I have taken Lovable primarily, but certainly other apps to be able to code software and build things beyond what I thought was possible. This is something that anybody can do now. And while I do have development experience, that positions me to be able to perhaps accelerate the pace of development above other people who haven't been familiar with software development. Doesn't mean that you can't get in the mix and develop something for yourself. So I'm going to switch my screen over and just see if we are on track here. So this is vibe coding, yes. We are looking at the manuscript for my book. Right now it's titled From Survival to Significance, and this is likely to change. Maybe it won't. We'll see if it sticks. But I wanted to show you guys the platform that I have built here and give you just a quick rundown on all the things that it does, and then we can work on actually getting into the coding of this. If you're new here, please hop over to studio.willmelton.com so that you can follow along on this journey. I'll pull the site up now just to give you a quick snapshot of what that is because you can subscribe on LinkedIn. That helps me out a lot. You can follow me, or excuse me, subscribe on YouTube, follow me on LinkedIn and on Twitch as well. And you can also sign up to be part of our referral program. That gives you the opportunity to get paid finder's fees or introductory fees to people who might potentially purchase these or invest in these applications when they become available. We're going to be auctioning off an app in 6 days. I haven't really been preparing for this, so that's going to be an interesting rollout. I'll have to hustle up here in the next week, but that's going to run for a couple of weeks so that we can just make sure that we get the word out there over the duration of the auction. It might not sell. We'll see what happens. My job is to make it clear what the value proposition for this is and the business case for it, the market demand. So it might be early, but this is how we will pay for these sessions. This is how we will pay to continue to bring you the education that I hope to bring you. And you can see everything that we're building over here. We're going to build 52 apps this year. We're going to hang out with you 3 days a week, 1 o'clock on Saturday, 10 o'clock on Sunday, and 5:30 on Monday. And I'll talk a little bit more about Monday's session here in a minute, but I want to get into our work. So if you are new here, I build product roadmaps into my builds. So I want to have the ability to plan out in advance what it is that we want to do to make this thing the best that it can be. And I don't want to wait for the AI to write the software. I don't want to forget anything. I come up with a lot of little nuggets here and there that ultimately are going to be implemented into this. And so we want to chronicle those. The other thing that's kind of cool about this, and just to show you, again, what's possible, this might be redundant if you are not, if you've been here before, but if you take a look at, let's see where sound rewrite is in here. If you take a look at this, we should be able to take a look at, no, it doesn't actually have my roadmap in there. I just connected that today so that you guys can see what was in the roadmap, and maybe it's not there. So I'll have to log into that and see what's going on. So just a couple of things as I'm poking around here. I seem to have forgotten my password to my own website. I'm able to get into it through Lovable. And one thing that I just did to be able to help me overcome that was I set up the ability to log in with Google, but I have not actually saved that or pushed that out yet. So I need to push that out so that we can actually have what we need there. But let me go over here and check and just take a look at my apps and see what we have. So if I go to sound rewrite in here, here it is. I'm going to just check and see if there's something I could do here. Earlier today, I added an update screenshot function here because I have dark mode installed on these sites and I want to display a dark mode and a light mode so that when users switch between dark and light mode on my website, it also switches that color on the display of my own website, on the studio website. And the question is, are you from a tech background? Yes, I am from a tech background. I'm a millennial, so back in the day, I built websites on Angel Fire and GeoCities. Kind of abandoned that for a really long time and got into the IT world, fixed computers for a long time for consumers and businesses, and then got into digital marketing. It was what helped our business grow, and I wanted to teach other businesses how they could also get in on the action. So that is my background, and I have been running a agency that has built websites for over 10 years now. And we're typically a dev shop that works with WordPress, but I have been frustrated with WordPress. Frustrated might be an understatement. Its security state is precarious right now, and it has performance issues. There are ecosystem issues. Lots going on there. So I'm also recognizing that I can move a lot faster with these TypeScript and React websites. So that's kind of what's motivated me to work inside of this space. And it's kind of new. I mean, this application's only a couple of years old, and I'm just looking for something here. So sorry if I'm kind of bumbling around. I wanted to see if I can find the roadmap. Has roadmap. I think that might have been what was missing. So let me just save this and see if that fixed what I was trying to do. For sound rewrite, we should see now the roadmap in here if I can find it. Yes. Okay, cool. So what I did was I created an API that connects my various projects, all their respective roadmaps into my studio site so that you can actually see specific roadmap items that I've designated as able to be viewed publicly. So that's down here. turn these on to be publicly visible. And that gives my audience, people who might potentially purchase this application if it's ever up for sale. Right now, I'm not considering selling it, but just gives somebody the understanding of where this is in the development cycle as I move through the future. While I do plan to build 52 apps this year, I've built more than 10. I've got to populate one more into this, I believe, and a couple more probably, but just one more that I know is not in here right now. And I'm going to advance these as they go. So, if Agent Workroom doesn't get sold in the next auction, I'm going to continue to advance the roadmap on that. And what that's going to do is make it more valuable. So the starting auction price will go up, but perhaps the mix of features that get introduced in the next development phase could potentially catch the attention of the right person, the right buyer. So that's the idea. I've never built anything that sells, business concepts and foundations like this before, but you know, first time for everything, it's worth a shot. Did I use GitHub Copilot Pro? Yes, I did. I guess maybe not. If that's through VS Code, I did actually have Copilot set up on that and was developing WordPress plugins. So yeah, I guess the answer to that is yes. I am not a developer from a time-based perspective. I don't spend a lot of time developing. I have lately, just because I've been building a lot of tools that solve a lot of my own problems. But that's why I built this. Sound Rewrite is an application that helps authors finish their book, and I am needing to finish my book. So I need to finish this application so I can finish my book. But what I can tell you, which is kind of cool about this, is I do have a book coach, and a lot of this is motivated by my dialogue with my book coach. And so I have a couple of books in here. This one's a replica of this one. I am working to just have one book in here, but I did a couple of import tests. I also have a book that I've started that is still in the book pitch phase, which is cool. This is a new feature that we built in because my book coach is helping me with both finishing a book that I started last year as well as starting a new book. And we're going to start with a pitch. And so we've built the pitch functionality into this. But to take you through, I'm incredibly ADD. I have a hard time focusing. I want to go, go, go. Friction slows me down. It makes it feel like things are impossible. Reading my book has been excruciating because I've read it so many times and I get lost at points. And so I wanted to find a better way to be able to get through it. And so some of this content is just placeholder, so disregard any promises made by others. But everything else in here is legitimate. Everything that this says that you can do, you can do. So it helps you to organize your chapters and the paragraphs within chapters. We have tools to help detect redundancy and other gaps in your manuscript. You have the ability to convert written text to voice or TTS to speech, and that helps to be able to listen back. And then you also have the ability to leave notes in at the timestamps and the different paragraphs that you've got. So there's a pretty easy way for people to move through their book editing and make sure that they are not having to slow down to go in and start to think about what they're going to write. They can just flag certain areas. And we've built an ecosystem that helps people from different facets of the industry participate. So the author is looking to use this tool in a sense to finish their book, but they also might have an editor or a coach that they're working with, and they want to shop their book with publishers. So we're creating space for all of that to happen. You can import your content, whether that's audio clips or written content. You can use it to build your outline. You can leverage different AI tools, not to write content, but just to assess. And then, obviously, I mentioned the listen, pause, and revise, and then the ability to share with others. So there's all these different features in here. There's 28 identified features. There might be a couple more than that when you work through it. And I've actually found it to be pretty seamless to be able to go through this and to go to the lengths to get it where it needs to be. So I'll show you around a little bit. Some of the things that you can see is the ability to reorder these different chapters just by dragging them around. That is a little bit bumpy because it's not always easy to see where it's going to go. I've tried to make that a little bit better. I feel like it's getting closer, but it's still a little bit bumpy at times just with what it looks like. So right now I lost chapter one. It found its way out of the section. So there, yeah, I'm identifying an issue that's going to cause some problems here. So we'll fix that later, but um, you also have the ability to hide this bit so that you can just focus on your canvas in the middle there. You can make this bigger and smaller if you want to, and you can see what your word count is in each one of the different um, chapters that you've got. And I see you asking me about pricing. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. If you're asking about pricing for my application, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Pricing for Lovable is based on usage, and so you can take a look at their site for that. But as far as this application goes, I'm actually going to be working on pricing today because um, there's this mix of features that we need to introduce. I mean, there's all the basic features that are built in, but then there's also the usage component. So if your book is 200,000 words, obviously that's going to use a lot more TTS credits, and we're going to have to factor that in. What I want to be able to do is make it so that there's kind of the right balance of features and the right amount of credits for people at the different price points in a realistic way. So far, I have transcribed or transposed. I don't know what the word is, to be honest with you. Let's see, a couple of chapters so far into audio, and I still have several more chapters to go. So it's going to take a good amount of credits to be able to actually do that. And just to show you here, I've got to generate this one here so that we can listen to that. But essentially, what we're able to do is kind of pick any place in this book and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and play from this point, and the
What
player is
comes to
going to
mind
start
when you think
playing
of
from that
confidence?
point.
Is it a natural charisma that draws people in, an unshakable belief in one's abilities, or the quiet assurance of someone who knows exactly what they're doing? Perhaps you envision.
And as you advance through, it kind of skips down into the text so you can see what you're listening to. There's also a mobile version so that you can uh, do the same thing uh, with mobile.
Ryan Reynolds deliver.
And you can also leave notes anywhere you'd like, either with voice to text, or if you want to type it in there, you can do that too. And you can indicate whether notes are, you know, what type of note they are, whether they're open or done, or whether they apply to all sections, or if they apply to a specific section. So there's a little bit that can be done there. But if you just want to leave a note and move on, it will leave it at the stamp at 1453. And over here, you can see where this is the feedback that my coach has put into this for the book to help me narrow down and edit and get where I need to go with everything. So I still have some time to spend on working through these strategic points. I've been doing it as I've been going, but I haven't played with this feature as much. You can see here we do have a guided overview that shows you how everything works. And you can see how you can add new sections. You can kind of write inside of this space if you want to. You can also abbreviate your paragraphs so that you can drag those around and order those things. So there's a lot that you can do with this. Let's see what it says. Paragraph blocks. I don't know why it scrolled all the way to the bottom, but that works. Run strategy check. Yeah, so I'll show you that feature in just a minute. The manuscript showed you that. The audio player, and those are kind of your main functions. So the analysis, what this is going to do is it's going to cross-reference the manuscript against the coach feedback and any notes. The outline is going to do a few different things. It's going to analyze content gaps. It's going to think about the structure of the book, and then the content review is really going to look for, have you talked about something multiple times over, perhaps? If you're like me and you tried to write a book with AI, it doesn't go very well. You have to have very strict control over what you're writing if you want it to not kind of regurgitate the same information over and over again. I have moved away from writing with AI and just more telling stories with my voice. As you can see, I'm not bad at that, so I'll keep up with it. I've started with writing a bunch of chapters, and then I ultimately came back and started putting a bunch of stories in. And my next job is to be able to move the stories into the different chapters and kind of merge different bits together. And what I've been doing lately is really working to figure out how to smoothly drag things around and not just reorder, but also have a way to potentially merge these things together by kind of dragging an item on top of another item. It's a sensitive kind of action from a mouse perspective. So I think that there might be something else that I need to do to be able to do that, like maybe check boxes, check a couple of chapters and merge them together. But since you asked about pricing, what I'm going to do next is I just wanted to show you how this works. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a little bit of feedback to Lovable because I'm noticing some problems. I just conducted the AI analysis and I can see that there are 3 items here, but I can only see one of them and I cannot scroll up and down. I will conduct a test on the outline analysis next to see if there are any issues with that. Similarly, on the outline area, I cannot scroll. I'm not sure if there are more than 2 points there, but that's one thing that we need to address. And you can see that one of the things that we extend to users here is a limited number of AI runs. So this is looks like it's not actually counting the AI runs, which is another issue that I can allude to here. I just ran 3 different AI analyses, and I still have 0 out of 25 AI runs used, indicating at the top. So we just gave away 3 AI runs to this user. I also can't scroll down on the repetition analysis. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let that play out. I'll just show you quickly, since you might be new to this, you can import from a document, you can paste text, or you can upload a voice memo, which has been one of the ways that I have personally found most productive. I was verbalizing to ChatGPT to get my stories out, and I lost a couple of those transcripts, so I decided just to capture voice notes on my iPhone, which now does the transcribing for you. And I use AI to clean up my stories a little bit, take out the ums and the ahs, and refine the structure of them a little bit without losing the bulk of the story. One of the details, one of the feedback items I got from my coach is that my stories are some of the most compelling bits of the book, and that I should lean into that as opposed to shying away from telling personal stories, which I wasn't trying to make the book all about me. I was trying to really focus on helping the reader. But sometimes the best way we can tell stories and help people is by telling our own stories and embracing that advice. All right, so I'm going to go back over to the roadmap here and just show you what we've got. There's a few things left to do in the roadmap. That doesn't mean that that's everything we have to do. We still have to make sure that we're ready to capture payment from users, and I do have to finalize the pricing, so we're going to work on that in just a minute. So there's a few things from an SEO perspective that are outstanding. So I'm going to move some of these to in progress, and we're going to go ahead and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use my Sprint assembly tool. I built this not too long ago, a few sessions ago. What this does is I've already generated the sitemap, so I'm actually going to mark that one as that's in review. So this one shouldn't have actually gotten added to this, but we'll see that that's released. Basically, the Sprint Q auto assembly function is designed to help me evaluate which of these should get teed up next. And just have a couple more changes that I need to make to this to make this whole thing work for me. I need the ability to delete items from the sprint. I also noticed that something made its way into the sprint that was in review. I want to ensure that no in review items are ever considered for the sprint assembly. Essentially, what we have right now is the ability to, hey, Michael, to talk to Lovable about the roadmap because Lovable can read the database. And so that's what we're doing. And I just wanted to kind of move through the final couple of things that we need to do. Like I mentioned, some of the schema markup that we want to have in here so that we can make sure that this site is found by search engines. I'm going to go and add this to Google Search Console so that it can be found by search engines, and I haven't done that yet. So there's a bunch of activities that we need to do in order to get this thing ready. And I'm going to be spending the rest of the time today going through all those steps because I'm ready to go. It's just pretty well baked at this point. And I've been using it enough to be able to determine that it's incredibly valuable for me to be able to do what I've been wanting to do. And so I wanted to take you guys through the process of actually seeing what this looks like because there are all these kind of wrap up steps that need to happen in order for this to work. If you're joining me for the very first time, this is Live Vibe Coding with Will Melton. I am finalizing sound rewrite. This application started. I just closed out of it. Let's see what week this month I built this. Week 426. So a couple weeks ago was the start of this. So really a mature build in just a couple of weeks. Excited to be able to show you guys the process for that. Okay, so my ownership has been verified on this. I can see that it still thinks that favicon is the lovable icon, so we'll need to just run a quick publish on this. I'm going to do a security scan here. Lovable lets you do these scans for free. They take a little bit of time. It's going to slow me down today. It's going to frustrate me, but we're talking about pushing this thing live, so we want to make sure that everything is buttoned up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I'm happy to answer anything that you've got. I've been using Lovable since about May of last year. I've built a number of different applications, small and large. There's other things out there like Vercel and Claude Code, and recently I've been connected to some information that I've been looking for a while, but I haven't been very adamant about going out of my way to get it, but how to move these builds over to AWS if that's something that needs to happen. I personally have found the suite of tools that Lovable's assembled and kind of the way that they've stitched them together to work for production scale applications. AI Ready RVA's entire website was built leveraging this technology. And while it isn't free of bugs, keep in mind that AI isn't making all the decisions. You set the requirements when you build these applications, and you can sometimes set requirements that are cumbersome and create problems and conflicts. And so we have to be a good build partner with these tools and think through these different processes to make sure that they're not mired with complexity. I've seen that slow projects down in major ways. Unnecessary complexity is the fastest way to a lot of headaches in the development of these applications. Small little things that you think might be pretty straightforward and simple could set you back in big ways. I'll tell you about some of the things that I've found on this particular build when I go into the dashboard and click on one of these. Sometimes moving these around has been a little bit wonky, closing and opening again versus the direction of the movement and all kinds of weird things. And so I've just had to work to finagle this at times to make it smooth and clean. And right now it feels pretty good. So I feel like we've done a good job to get that where it needs to be. But do I really need to have the ability to expand and shrink this? Not necessarily, but I feel like it helps the reader or the writer see what they've written a little bit more over here on the side. Certainly, you can see it over here as well, and that might be a way that you can maybe get there a little bit faster. But I'm still learning how to use this application, even though I'm the one who built it. So that's the fun part. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this. I'll check on the warnings a little bit later today. I want to give you guys most of my time focused on development. I'm going to have to check on my secrets and see if I have any live secrets for Stripe. I probably do not, because I wasn't sure, I think until today, what Stripe account I was going to use to set this up. Obviously, another thing that you got to consider with all this stuff is what business entity is going to be the taker of the money, the tax entity that has to report that to the IRS. I've been building this for me, and I've been spending nights and weekends on it. So I'm going to be making this a Will Melton build. So we'll run this under my company, but in some cases, and at some point, I will be spinning this off as a separate LLC, because it does deserve that, and I deserve to protect myself from any potential liability that emerges from this. This is connected to AI. We've done what we need to do to protect ourselves in all the ways, but there's uncertainty and unknowns all of the time, and we just have to be extra cautious. So yeah, it'll be so once I start to have a few users who are paying for this application, I'm going to be a lot quicker to go ahead and move it off. I personally am not a big fan of the administrative side of things. It can be a little bit cumbersome in my mind to spend time on those things. So I have a team of people that I can activate when the time's right, when this is actually generating revenue and we can see that it's a viable business that's worthy of that investment. I do things a little bit out of order sometimes, but I think you have to think about the order of how you do things today, because AI does create those opportunities to move faster, and sometimes doing things the way that we used to do them might slow us down. All right. I still want to knock out this sprint queue, but while we're doing that, one of the things that I have built into the analytics is the text to speech usage, and I'm tied in with 11 Labs to make that happen. What this is doing for us is helping us to be sure that we're not going overkill on our compute usage, and we also have AI usage that's also part of this that we need to be mindful of. So I think that is not here right now, and there's still redundancy between it's showing me the text to speech here as well as here, and I've already prompted it to separate those things, and it separated them, but it still kept them as duplicate, and I do not have my AI usage anymore. So we'll get there. We'll get there. But what I need to do is make sure that this business doesn't go out of business because I've charged too little. So what the initial idea was that people could sign up, and they would get maybe a certain amount of TTS credits per month. And then if they needed to buy more, they have the ability to do that. And I think that this makes a lot of sense, but I also want to be mindful of the pricing points. So um, if $16 is too low of a price point to be able to cover the costs associated with this array of services, or if, for instance, the amount of text to speech that really needs to be, uh, you know, performed every month in order for an author to get through their book edit is, 30 isn't enough minutes to do that. I think that's kind of where my head's at, and 50,000 words is kind of the target for a lot of books. So recognizing what that converts to in minutes, trying to be mindful of, well, they're probably not done. They're probably not going to want to listen to the whole book all at once. They probably want to actually make some progress on the book. They probably don't need it all at once. But maybe we don't need to provide any TTS credits each month, and that can just be something that is a use as you go type of thing. And so that's one of the things that I've been thinking about lately. If anybody who's live with me today has any thoughts or feedback on that about what you think would be best, feel free to share it in the comments. I feel like it could really go either way. I think part of what keeps people engaged with this application is actually listening to their book, and so limiting playback, or preventing playback altogether is something that maybe it's from a business case perspective, we want to have some in there so that people get to play with it, hear it, feel it. And so welcome any feedback there. Now I'm going to give some verbal commands because I have a number of things that I need to do in order to move to the next phase. Right now, we're going to take this application live today, most likely. And what I want to do is check to see if we are linked up with Stripe appropriately. This is going to be linked to the Will Melton Stripe account. We need to make sure that we're using live keys. We need to make sure that we have proper checkout pages that are on brand and leveraging Stripe, but integrating the checkout page right inside the interface. I want to keep it contained. We need to make sure that we can support both monthly subscription fees as well as one-off TTS credits. And I want to be able to offer both coupon codes and trial offers. And so let's go ahead and make sure that we tee up a 7-day trial offer. We'll go ahead and allow for the full 30 minutes of TTS credits to be used in that 7 days for the author level account. And let's make sure that we wire everything up securely, make sure that we are tying in the purchase with account creation if they haven't set up their account yet. Need to make sure that they're given all their entitlements when all this happens. All right, so I'm going to let it go and think about that for a minute. I could have put that in the roadmap, and normally I would just to track it, but because I want to go live today, I'm skipping that step. I'm also going to tee up another verbal prompt so that we can be mindful of our pricing options. So right now, our pricing is perhaps appropriate. I'm not entirely sure, but what I want to do is be 100% sure that we're offering the appropriate amount of TTS for our authors in the base level option without, while also being confident that we're not losing money. This application, the costs are fairly minimal. We're going to have hosting fees. We're going to have compute costs for TTS and AI. We need to make sure that we're considering those costs and a sufficient amount for the author to be able to engage this application on a fairly ready level. And it be easy and smooth and inviting so that they use it on a regular basis. The more useful it is, the better it's going to be for us. Our costs are going to be limited to customer support, some development support, and marketing costs. we should be targeting a 50% or better return on investment, considering all of those costs. Ideally, when you eliminate some of the human costs, perhaps focusing on about a 70% ROI from subscriptions is appropriate. All right. I'll probably have to do some finagling with this checkout experience and kind of force it to be like I want it to be, but let me stop talking. I would like to also consider that there might be multiple tiers for authors. I feel like we limit our income potential by only having one tier per author. Perhaps there can be a limit to how many books. Well, I don't know if we want to do that. We might find some kind of limits that are natural to be able to create a couple of different price points and give power users an option that allows them to write unfettered. And maybe we can have a couple of tiers where there's more TTS credits as well, in order to make the experience smooth. Perhaps we should show only author tiers on the homepage and where we show pricing, and then we can scroll to the right, or we can toggle over to see editors, coaches, and publisher pricing. Let's come up with a smart plan for how we address that. All right. I'm using AI in every single way to be able to build these apps. I'm using AI to think about the business case. I'm using AI to think about the architecture of the software. I'm using AI to help me think through my thinking and help me make decisions. And I'm using AI to ultimately code the end product. I still do some things manually whenever I'm playing around with all of this stuff. I'm still sometimes in the weeds of it. But like the logo, I designed that yesterday just using Canva. While I'm getting here close to a wrap point, we'll be wrapping up today at 2 o'clock. I've got some other obligations, but I want to go ahead and get analytics installed. I can take a look at analytics through Lovable, but it's not quite as robust as this is. So let's see, I'm going to create a new property. This is sound rewrite. This is going to help me know granular details about what is how people engage with this site. Drive sales. I want to do all these things. Okay, so some of the things that I'll tell you about, like user engagement and retention, this might be a little bit better off inside of the React app. I don't have really robust tools set up for analytics yet inside of Sound Rewrite, but that'll be something that's pretty easy to wire up. I need to be able to integrate with Google Analytics. I feel like we could have a settings area under administration where we see that information, but I'm going to go ahead and give you my analytics ID to add to that already. And let's see. This didn't actually give me a good plan. Let's see. Instead of letting me tee up the next thing, it overrode my plan that I had before. So I have to. I don't usually use the plan function, but I'm using it now because I don't actually want it to code whatever it comes up with. But I do want to do one more thing. Hold on. I had asked that you populate the sample manuscript in my projects for testing. It is still not there. This will be my third time asking for that. New users will get a sample manuscript so that it is there for the live walkthrough demo. So now I've got a couple of different things teed up. So the analytics implementation should be pretty straightforward. I'm going to take a look at pricing over here and just see what we've got. So we have some analytics in here. Actually shows us the usage and all of that, but I'll worry about that later. Like I said, I don't have anybody in here quite yet. I sometimes like to know when users are active, so that kind of tells me when I invite people in whether they're actually using it or not. I like to know kind of how recently they use the platform. And then other things that I'll do at some point is start to create some kind of gamification here. So giving people some tasks to complete to keep them going with their book. It can be challenging to get through 50, 60,000 words. And my aim is to make it easier for people to actually go where they want to go. All the things that I build are about reducing friction. That's really what software is designed to do anyway. But as I think about the future and as AI can replace a lot of the different software applications from yesteryear, I believe that AI has the potential to, you know, certainly disrupt. But if you create the right mix of solutions for specific users that do not want to spend their time writing software, I think that there's still absolutely a marketplace for these tools. It's just about knowing the pain that people go through and arriving with the right mix of friction reducers to be able to alleviate that. I think that people are looking for comfort by and large. They don't want to have these frustrations. They're trying to solve problems. They're trying to make something happen. So I'm just giving my coffee a little nuke here while we wait for some of this to go. But as I think through the rest here, I'm going to get my sprint done. I want to make sure that people can purchase and that they're granted user access, and make sure that we have records of those transactions and all that good stuff. I'll probably have to build a little bit more. It'll remain in the database. It'll be in my Stripe transactions. I'll be able to pull that back down later if I don't have it yet inside of this platform. But let's see, what else do I need to do? Well, I'll have to start marketing it too. I'll have to start inviting people in. One of the things that I have in the roadmap is to be able to create a custom, yeah, it's still working, graphic card so that if I were to send somebody a message on their phone or social media, that the right promotional message appears in the preview there. That's something that I like to do. There's probably opportunity for us to record a video walkthrough so that we can bring that to the surface and show people exactly how this works. I could probably even edit some of this video to be able to take people through it, not recreate the wheel. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to publish this just so that we can ensure that analytics is picking us up. I'll have to go visit the website now that it's integrated. I'm going to take a look at the dashboard. I still do not see a settings. So I've been going here for about 50 minutes. If you're hanging out with me and you're new to this, we're building 52 apps this year to be able to show other people that you can build what you can dream of if you just go and find a tool like Lovable and Vercel and Replit and a lot of other tools like it, and just start playing. Okay, so our ask was, what's the right mix of services? So I'm going to read through this pretty quickly and just make a decision here. So right here, this is what I thought. TTS add-on pricing is unsustainable. You're losing money on every packet sale, every pack sale. See, like here, it's just I don't have very many costs associated with this, so I don't need to hit that full 70% margin on this, but it's telling us that it's looking for that 60% margin, and not a single option here has the margin of 60%. But I think that this is probably in the range that I'm happy with. So thanks, Ember After Dark. I think I considered Whisper, but what I'm really looking for is high quality audio. I'm gonna switch over to. I'll close this and come back to it. I'm gonna let you listen to a little bit of this book, so you can see what it sounds like. I won't listen to it. I can promise you if it's not a quality readout. So this is supposed to have generated some of the text to script, text to speech. So I'll have to fix that before I fix it. Fix that before I go live. But this is mine, so I'll let you listen.
What comes to mind when you think of confidence?
Here, I'm going to go back up.
What comes to mind when you think of confidence? Is it a natural career? My brother, my sister, and I were all huddled together under several blankets on the couch, trying to keep warm. I must have been around 10 years old.
Yes, text to speech.
And it wouldn't be until the next day at the earliest that we could get a refill. We hung.
So you can hear that. I hope you can hear that. I know that my music might have conflicted with it a little bit. So if you wanted me to replay that a little bit louder, I can. But I'm using voice to text as well, and I'm using a natural integration through Lovable. I suspect it's using Gemini 2.5 Flash, but I'm not positive. All right, I'm going to come back to my pricing model here because I do want to get some business decisions made here for you guys. I do like this kind of tiered author structure. Yeah. So I'm going to just tell it proceed with the plan. And let that go. Let me again pop into the dashboard to see what we have here. Still don't have settings tab. Add settings. I don't really need the settings to be in there right now, but I've asked for it 3 times, maybe even 4 times, and I want to see it in there. So I'm asking yet again. Oh, I see. It hasn't gotten to that yet. Okay, that's what happened. But I did publish this, so I'm going to take a look really quickly to see if analytics is firing at this point, because I do want to make sure that that's all working. Soundrewrite.com is the place where you can go check this out. It will not take your credit card quite yet, but it will soon, so bear with me. Says it's not collecting. Let me just take a look at the page source. Yeah, I mean, I should have a G dash in here somewhere, but I don't see that. I need to have, yeah, this isn't showing anything. This code's also looks pretty thin. I probably need the content on the site, all of it, to show up here. A lot of stuff. Okay. I wanted you to go ahead and convert some of the chapters of the sample book into TTS and store those files in the database so that they can be present for all of the authors who come in and see that sample book. I similarly want to use those sample transcripts on the home page. I want to put a couple of different audio samples with some different voices underneath the text to speech where it says what is it, so that people can hear the quality of the voices. And let's see. I'm going to hang out with you guys for a little bit longer today because I wanted to make a little bit more progress. So I'm just going to look at my roadmap while I'm going to take a look at my sprint and see what's going on over there. I still cannot delete these roadmap and sprint queue items. The sprint queue delete button is still not visible in the sprint Viewer, I've asked for this 4 times now, and you still have not delivered. This is a high priority.
It's 2 o'clock.
If you like me, you can get into the flow of all this stuff. And so if you didn't hear it, my computer just told me what time it is. That's a function in the settings of your Mac. If you're a Mac user, I do enjoy that. It sounds a little weird, but sometimes you can lose track of time when you're working on these things. And I see what happened. The settings is here. All right. Sometimes you have to tell AI to take it step by step or slow down. I perhaps could slow down myself a little bit and give it more details, give it more direction, tell it more explicitly what I'm looking for. That can always help. 5 exclamation points also doesn't hurt. Might be 6 there. I think it's 5. All right. So as we are waiting on those items to evolve, something that I'll take you guys to, let's go to arcade.aireadyrva.com. Get dark mode now. If you haven't been around with this, we built this, I guess, was it Monday? Sunday? I can't remember. I think it was Sunday I built this. This is a place where you can go to learn more about how AI works, from basic stuff to more advanced. There's more that's going to come into this, but I'm encouraging people to come in here and play with this and share their feedback so that we can make it better. I will keep building some free tools like this for the community as we go. Anybody has access to this through arcade.aireadyrva.com, so I encourage you to play and learn with us and help us make it better. Trying to make it a little bit of fun, some different ways, more to do on that. Just lastly here, check out studio.willmelton.com and fill out the referral form here. We'll send you some notices from time to time when bigger things are happening, and we will pay you to connect us with investors and buyers to these businesses. You can also take a look at our older sessions. You can see all of the sessions that I've done here and learn some different things. I've got some shorts in here as well. You can actually see how I did my product roadmaps. I want to say that the short on how to do that's a little bit older, but it's in there, and some of these I have to get rid of. There's some duplicates of events that didn't actually get logged. But in any event, this one down here will show you how the product roadmap works. It's not the most evolved that I've been able to do with the connectivity between my Studio app, but it's at least most of the features there. Yeah. So Ember After Dark mentioned just kind of being very careful to review everything the AI does. I think that that's a wise thing to do. I am personally, one of the things that I like to watch happen is whenever AI is actually doing something, to pay attention to the details of what's going on, and um, taking a look here inside of the queue, I can expand out the details and actually see what it's thinking about, what it's talking about, what it's choosing to do, what files it's editing. And this gives me the ability to have a bit more depth of understanding of what the different files are in the application and how it is working to be able to deliver the promises, the user experiences that I'm looking for. And I think it's just a matter of, for me, it's about moving quickly and trying to let go of the process and allow the software scaffolding to assemble itself and then come back in later on and really think about the granular level. Yeah, I think one of the things that I have is a dev team that is starting to take over some of our projects. At Exponent 21, I have some projects that are specifically for our purposes, and I don't have it open right now, so I won't go back to it. But I have had to learn how to stitch together all these different parts and pieces. So our content roadmap, or excuse me, our product roadmap is feeding into Asana, so my dev team knows when there are roadmap items that need to be addressed. I have the users of these applications, the internal staff that leverages them, provide their feedback and add to the roadmap. And then we have it set up so that the developers can quickly move through sprints so long as enough information is there. It is clear to me that the right edge of the cards in the sprint queue is being cut off because of a sizing issue. I expect there to be a delete button on the right-hand side of those cards, but I cannot see them because the sprint queue is in an unnecessarily nested container inside of the window that opens up when you open the sprint queue. Perhaps not that's not the only reason, but I want to be able to see the delete button on individual sprint queue items, not just a singular sprint clear button. But I'm going to go ahead and auto assemble a sprint here, and I'm going to execute this sprint. So the way that this works, just so you know, is I'm going to have, I think that's going to allow me to paste. Nope, it's not working. The execute sprint button is not doing what it's supposed to do. The execute sprint button is supposed to copy instructions to the clipboard to execute the items in the sprint. I will paste those instructions into Lovable. The instructions are also supposed to inform Lovable to, when complete, move tasks into in review so they could be checked by a human. It's also supposed to put instructions in between tasks to advance to the next task automatically without intervention from a human. Nothing copied to my clipboard. When I clicked execute sprint, it just said sprint execution started. Items be worked on in order. There's no function for anything to happen because there's no tie-in with Lovable. I've created an SDK to be able to roll this out to multiple applications, and despite my best efforts, every single one that I've installed it on, I've had to give it further instructions to be able to make sure that it does what I need it to do from an integration standpoint. And while that is a little bit frustrating, when it is actually working, it saves a ton of time. And you're going to see in just a minute when I execute on that exactly what that looks like. One of the bigger challenges I've found with Lovable is that it has a keen inability to appreciate the nuance of layouts and mobile responsiveness. And while it does a pretty good job most of the time, there are times that it just seems to just not get it at all. The guided tour icon in the top bar should only be visible when users are looking at the dashboard view. The rest of the time, that icon should not be visible at all. Now, the responsible thing for me to do is I'm going to go ahead and figure out. Oh, there it is. It just moved over to the other side of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the dashboard. I'm going to load the roadmap. I'm going to get my sprint over here and execute sprint. I'm going to paste that here and just hit enter and let that go. And while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and switch to in review and just take a look at what else I have in here. All this schema markup stuff, I don't actually know if, let me see if this is right. So, okay, that didn't make it in there. Good. I'm going to actually cancel this because this has got stuff in it that are in review. I just used the auto assemble sprint function and I noticed that it put things in the sprint that were in the status of in review, which means that they were already completed. That's prohibited. The only things that are allowed to be populated in the auto sprint assembly are planned and in progress. And maybe even changes needed if there is information on those tasks. But anyway, what I'm supposed to be doing is taking a look at the in review items to see what got done and subscription checkout flow. I need to check that still. This has been released. This has been released. This has been released. So, Ember, if you're still with me, one of the things that I do is I will use AI to assemble the sprint, not just to be able to assemble it, but actually talk to AI about what the application is supposed to do and populate the roadmap with tasks that need to happen. So a lot of this stuff I didn't, I kind of dumped into ChatGPT, I think, what I was hoping that this thing would do, and it just transformed it into text that could then be populating this roadmap. But it's kind of taking my original prompt into ChatGPT, the work plan that ChatGPT gave me, and then pasting both of those into Lovable to get the output that I'm looking for here. So that's how I did it. I need to test the Stripe integration, so I'm not going to mark that as released yet. Build section redundancy analyzer, that's released. Cross-section overlap detection, that's released. AI usage tracking and limits, that's released. That's released. 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 Testimonial section exists, but I'll have to get that replaced with some real text soon. I do have some people testing it for me, so I'll have some quotes here soon, hopefully. SEO meta tags. I did do that, so I'll mark that complete. I will want to check it again later, but for now, I didn't actually look to see if I got a terms of service and privacy policy. This does need to be improved. This is quite basic, but I'll mark that as in review. Cool. Very cool. All right, roadmap. Let me just see if I can clear this guy, clear the sprint, auto assemble sprint. I'm looking for it to just load. Planned and in progress. When I went to assemble the sprint, it's only looking for high priority items for some reason. It's not considering all items in the roadmap. The auto assembly needs to assemble things from across the roadmap, not just high priority items. Can you tell me what the logic is that's set up now? The reason why we use the auto sprint assemble sprint is that you're supposed to, or the AI is supposed to assess the various tasks that are in progress or planned or needs changes, and then work to determine which items need to be completed in what order. All right. Mark released, admin pricing management dashboard, that's done. TTS credit purchase flow, I want to confirm that. I want to check that. I haven't seen that yet. Aggregate summary report. Let's see. I haven't looked to see if there's any feedback notifications. Feedback priority levels has been done. How should the auto sprint work? Okay. Revision comparison, I haven't had a chance to play with that yet. I have released that. I've released that. I've released that. Released that. Notification systems. There. Released. 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 Okay, so what I'm going to do is just quickly add some the privacy policy needs to be more robust and modern to include California law and European law. We also need to go ahead and add a cookie notice and acceptance function to the site so that we can be in compliance. All right. Okay. So I'll go ahead and let this sprint run because we'll let all that stuff run. And I'm going to go ahead and publish what we've got right now because I want to just check Google Analytics again. I haven't really used that much ChatGPT for code, but I have used it a little bit. But like I said, I'm heavily leaning on AI to just listen to what I have to say in English language and turn that into code that actually works. I have been surprised that there's not really been any obstacle I haven't been able to overcome. I've had to get some things have gotten kind of complicated in there, the solution planning, but for the most part, I've been pretty happy. It's certainly not been that case for the last 6 months. The whole time, it's gotten a lot better in the last month or so, a couple months maybe. But here's what I'm going to do. I do have to run. I'm going to wrap up here. Hang out with me again in the future. I'll be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll wrap up what we didn't finish today. And not quite sure what this is doing. But anyway, I'll come back tomorrow and wrap up what we didn't finish today if I don't do it later tonight, but I'll probably be out of pocket for the rest of the day. So we've got a little bit more to go here. But check out soundrewrite.com, poke around the marketing content, see if you see anything that stands out or doesn't make sense, and join me tomorrow, share your feedback, and I'll see if I can't incorporate that into our final build. But the goal is going to be tomorrow, taking this thing online and inviting our first trial users to come in and begin to use the application and share feedback with us so that we can make it the best it can be. But I believe at this point, it's just kind of at testing stage. So I'll use my test credit card to be able to go through a few transactions, make sure I'm granted permissions, make sure I can use the software as a new user, make sure that I can purchase additional TTS credits. And I also need to make sure that I have enough TTS credits for my new users because my plan is going to limit that if I get a flood of people in the very beginning. So lots of moving parts to make this stuff work. Fortunately, my brain's able to kind of keep it all compartmentalized, and it's helped me to move through things more quickly. But then there's other organization tools that I need to use, as you've seen here. So that is a wrap here. I'll hang out with you guys for just a couple of minutes while I click out of a couple of things here. Again, studio.willmelton.com. Follow me on Twitch. Subscribe on YouTube. That helps me out a lot. Follow me on LinkedIn if you want to connect over any professional matters. I'm happy to explore what future potential exists. I'm building a lot for nonprofits, and we're starting to do some more. We're moving from WordPress to this for portals and dashboards and different client tools. So I'm super happy to be showing you all this, and thank you so much for engaging me in dialogue here. I don't ever know who's going to show up or whether anybody's going to show up, but you guys are here with us, and just thrilled to be able to build together with you and hopefully inspire you to build something for yourself. So we'll get you tomorrow. And on Monday, I didn't mention it earlier, but I'm going to be showing off Discover AIO, which is a really robust platform. It's a community. There's a lot that's in this. This is something that I think just about anybody can be using to think about how they might be able to build something for themselves and build lots of different things into the applications that are designed to serve users. So I'm going to show this off, show you all the different ways that we are using to engage users on Discover AIO. And that's going to be a joint session with Discover AIO so that we can get more people onto that platform. There are free options for this. So if you want to learn how to get your content and your website and your brand to show up in AI when people ask questions, that's what Exponent 21 does. That is how we become some of the top providers of the service in the world. We built the playbook for this, and we're excited to share this with you as well. So come on Monday at 5:30 Eastern Time to learn more about this. It's my show and tell session, and I'll dive into this in a deep way. That's a wrap, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with me again. Have a good weekend. Go build something fun. Stay warm.